you. So thank you, Rotary Cognitivity, for having me. Tonight we're going to talk about rethinking the dietary guidelines, whether it's appropriate to follow the dietary guidelines or not. So again, thank you for having me. Just to introduce myself again, my name's Avi Charlton. I'm a GP for the last 20 years. So about 4 years ago, I learned about low carb nutrition, and I now want to be a lifestyle GP. I like to take you off medication rather than prescribe medication. I prescribe lifestyle, healthy lifestyle in terms of nutrition, sleep, exercise to take you off your medication, reduce diabetes and blood pressure tablets, and I think that's much more rewarding. So this is my family. I've got a husband, 2 dogs, a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old, and that's my clinic in Montana. And I've set up Melbourne Low Carb Clinic a couple of years ago to try and advertise myself, promote low carb. I still do normal general practice, coughs and colds, and the reason why I'm speaking to you because I want to let this low carb lifestyle be heard, so I do less coughs and colds. I started Low Carb Melbourne support group with a few like-minded low carb health coaches, and you can go to Facebook and join the group. Just a brief why I started doing this. So when my kids stopped being toddlers and they didn't need me as much, I joined the gym and I started participating in this 8-week body transformation challenge just for fun. The trainer prescribed me with a spreadsheet that I had to weigh the food, 130 grams of protein, 20 grams of carbs, 40 grams of fat, something like that. And I put on a scale. I had to do this every night, 3 meals a day for about 8 weeks. And I lost about 4 kilos, 4% body fat, and I felt fantastic. And I looked into the science, and I did all these courses on obesity, nutrition network, metabolic health practitioner, and acronym stands for Australasian College of Environmental and Nutritional Medicine. So I did lots of learning, and it was COVID, it was quiet in the clinic, so I did lots of online courses. And I found myself unlearning lots of things and relearning all these new things about nutrition. So some of you might remember 1970s is not what it looks like now in the 2021. So the world is a whole lot different. In fact, obesity has gone up so much from the 1980s to the year 2000. It's almost tripled, obesity. Diabetes is tripled as well. So the world is different from what it was back in the 1970s, 1980s. So what has changed? What's different from back then? Human is still the same. More on the statistics. Up to 10% of people have diabetes. Almost half of them don't know they have diabetes. Up to 16% of the population have pre-diabetes, meaning they don't even know. 35% of people have metabolic syndrome, so that's 1/3. So a third of the population have metabolic syndrome. What metabolic syndrome means is your body's not functioning properly, the metabolism is not burning fuel properly. So it's characterized by certain criteria in your blood test, and these people have high blood pressure and quite often central obesity, and these people, the body, the cells not burning the fuel properly. Up to 65% of people are obese or overweight. So that's alarming statistics. A lot of you are familiar with these weight loss strategies. There's Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig and Shakes, and OptiSlim, OptiFast, weight loss drugs. Xenical is a tablet that will make you pass all the fat that you eat. It's not many people prescribe it or use it now. Reductil is a tablet that's gone off the market because it's caused a lot of heart attacks. So, yeah. Duramine is still in the market. Most doctors don't like prescribing it because it sends people crazy. Ozempic is really popular. Everybody wants Ozempic, but it's been in 60 minutes twice in the last month or so, causing stomach not working properly. It starves you and it causes your stomach to slow down metabolism, and you lose muscle and bones as well as your fat. So you don't want to lose muscle and bones. Sure, you want to lose fat. So you become weak and frail. Or you can chop part of your stomach off with bariatric surgery. So these are the current weight loss methods. People think that weight loss is just calorie in, calorie out. Eat less, move more, exercise more. I go do some walking and eat less and starve myself. It's actually not that easy. We're not machines. We're not combustible calorimeters. So it's not as simple as calorie in, calorie out. There's lots of hormones in our body that functions. So whoever tells you to eat less, exercise more, doesn't understand how the body works and hormones. The most important hormone you need to understand is this hormone called insulin, which most doctors don't test enough, and I actually do it as part of my routine blood test. Insulin is a hormone, so that is essential. So our body needs insulin. When you're type 1 diabetic, you don't have insulin, then you inject your own insulin. When you're type 2 diabetic, your insulin doesn't work properly because your body produces too much insulin and your cell doesn't want to listen to the insulin anymore. So in the first figure, your body has the glucose, the little red dots that are produced. The body produces the insulin. It's like a key. The key put the glucose away and store it as fat. When your body has lots and lots of glucose, the body makes more insulin to put this glucose away and store it as fat. So it's like a mummy nagging a child. If you keep nagging the child doesn't want to work, doesn't want to listen. And the mummy keeps making more nagging, and it's just like the body making more insulin to try and put this glucose away. In fact, your blood can only hold 1 teaspoon of glucose at a time in your bloodstream. 1 teaspoon is 4 grams of glucose in your bloodstream at a time. So if you eat a lot of glucose, more than 1 teaspoon, that is excess glucose, your body will make more insulin to put it into the cells as fat. Or it makes your blood sticky. There's 3 macronutrients that everybody eats. There's either a carb or a protein or a fat. So the carb is, we know, bread, potato, pasta. The protein is your meat, eggs, chicken, fish, lamb, pork. And the fat is the olive oil, avocado, nuts and seeds. The carbs will raise your blood glucose really high. The carbs actually becomes glucose when it goes into your body. So, and the protein doesn't raise it as much. The fat doesn't really raise your glucose that much at all. So again, this is the carbohydrates is the glucose molecules all in together. So we all know glucose is bad, sugar is bad. Everyone says, oh, I don't eat much sugar. I don't add sugar, I try not to eat donuts and desserts. We know all that's bad. But not often enough we realize the bread and the potatoes and the pasta. I'm sorry, you all just had a pasta. And so all that has become glucose in your bloodstream. In fact, the rice, 150 grams of rice, 1 serve of rice is 10 teaspoons of glucose at a time. Banana, we think fruit is healthy. 1 banana is 5.7 teaspoons of sugar. This is done by a GP in UK called Dr. Unwin. He is a very successful GP in England, and he has reversed lots and lots of diabetes because he's telling his patients that if you're a diabetic, you really can't eat that much sugar. and carbohydrates. Even if you're pre-diabetic, even if you're obese, even if you have metabolic syndrome, your body can't break down so much sugar. So we need to be aware that there's lots of good sugar, carbohydrates. In fact, the carbs are not essential. So we don't actually need the carbs. The purpose of carbs is to provide energy. So sure, a lot of people say, I need the carbs because I need the energy. But we can actually get energy from protein and fat. The protein becomes energy. This is called gluconeogenesis. The body will make glucose from protein. So you can actually eat meat and eggs and you can get energy from meat. If you become fat adapted by burning fat, you can actually burn fat as energy too by eating fat. So we've been telling people to avoid fat because fat has got a bad name. What if I tell you eating fat doesn't cause you to become fat? And the fat has been wrongly demonized in the 1970s by some scientists saying that eating fat will cause you to increase your cholesterol to make you fat. And that's actually not quite right. It depends on what type of fat, and there's lots of good fat. The fat around the meat is actually great. The eggs are great. The eggs doesn't increase your heart attacks, doesn't increase your cholesterol. Avocado is great, olive oil is amazing. So eating fat is actually really essential, and eating a low-fat diet, which we've been promoting since the 1970s, is the biggest failure experiment that has caused so much obesity and diabetes in our society now. In fact, the American Journal of Cardiology has realized that saturated fat doesn't increase your heart attack, and published this journal in the 2020 and telling us eating saturated fat is actually fine. It doesn't cause heart disease. So butter is fine. You don't have to go to margarine, which is actually artificial. Margarine is even worse than butter. Butter's made a comeback. The red meat, saturated fat is fine. Dark chocolate is great. So there's no need to fear the saturated fat causing heart disease. It's actually wrongly demonized. The problem is in the supermarket. 2/3 of the supermarket is all these food-like substances. They're not even actually food. All the chips and cereal, they're actually more chemicals than food. Too many people are counting calories and not enough people counting chemicals. So if you look at the ingredients list, they're all numbers and you can't even pronounce it. That's processed foods. That's not even food. And they're targeting the weakest, the children, with colourful imaging, colourful... They're all sugar, so all the cereal is sugar. So we're told these foods are healthy, the margarine, the canola oil, vegetable oil, Cheerios. But what's actually healthy is the real food. It's the meat, eggs, chicken, fish, and the veggies. So the money is in the big food business. The money is actually in the fake meat. That's why the fake meat people is trying to demonize the real meat. So this is what we've been told to eat to follow the dietary guidelines. The healthy food pyramid started about 1977, 1980 is when America developed this dietary guidelines, healthy food pyramid. And Australia followed the Americans. They say you should eat majority of the food, grains, bread, 4 serves to 8 serves of grain, cereal, bread, and lots of veggies, and we shouldn't eat so much fat. And in the diet dietary guidelines. Majority of the food is processed foods. You get all the bread and the noodles, all this whole section is grains and sugar and carbs. So much fruit. Fruit actually becomes sugar as well, and not enough protein. Most people don't eat enough protein, and that is why people have osteoporosis, breaking bones, not enough muscles. So, the food pyramid. Since its invention in 1970s, they say you have to eat your cereal and breads from now on. 2020s, we say, oh, it's amazing, we should keep going with that. So I propose changing from this dietary guidelines, scrapping the bread, veggies is fine, protein we need to eat more, to this modified. Avoid the seed oil, vegetable oil, canola oil. Really cut back on the carbs, bread, potato, pasta. Eat your plants. Eat your meat, eggs, chicken, fish. Get rid of the processed foods. Then we'll all be much more healthy. This is actually from the Dietetics Australia, Dietitians Australia. The Australian Dietary Guidelines are intended as a framework for healthy eating among the general population. They are not meant for sick people, including those who need specific dietary advice for a medical condition or the frail elderly. So the dietary guidelines is for healthy people who whose metabolism is healthy. I think that's my 15, 12-year-old only. I think the majority of us are not quite metabolically healthy, and we shouldn't be following these dietary guidelines unless you're really metabolically healthy, like a 15-year-old. So I really put on weight quickly if I eat the standard diet. And the problem with the Chinese and the Indian is that we don't show that we're fat, and a lot of us have diabetes. So you see the Chinese walking around skinny, but a lot of Chinese have diabetes. Unfortunately, we store it around the organs.
You eat a lot of rice and noodles.
Yeah, and we eat a lot of processed foods and cakes and biscuits now.
McDonald's.
So this is what I propose the new food pyramid should be like, is more meat, eggs, chicken, fish and veggies, but get rid of the bread, pasta, rice, corn,
Potatoes too?
potatoes as well.
Do you get rid of the milk as well?
A little bit less milk.
Less milk? You said less milk.
Less milk. So sugar, eating sugar actually makes you hungry. Carbohydrates make you fat. And the polyunsaturated oils make you inflamed and sick. The polyunsaturated oil is the vegetable oil, canola oil. They aren't made from vegetable and they're not made from canola, whatever that is. It's petroleum. They're made from petroleum.
No, it's a plant. There's the canola plants.
No, but it's not. But the oil, it's processed many times, purified and bleached, and there's big factories manufacturing those oils.
It's good and bad olive oil too.
Yeah, good and bad olive oils as well. So you need to.
Aussie olive oil's good. Cobram Estate, everybody.
It's got shares.
Yes.
So I'm trying not to be that doctor that'll give you a pill for the lifestyle diseases that you've had. So I'm trying to teach people about lifestyle, about eating real food, but not enough people follow this advice. They all want pills and surgery. In fact, all these insulin resistance contributed together with stress, processed food, lack of sleep, sugar, busy lifestyle, not enough exercise, processed carbs, contributes to all these conditions that I believe is related to insulin resistance. So heart disease is now recognized as an inflammatory condition. So inflammation increases risk of heart attacks, or the sugar, vegetable oil, increases heart attacks. Not really the cholesterol clogging your arteries as you might have been told. Migraines is from inflammation, sugar, polycystic ovarian syndrome, the young women being really overweight. I've had a lady who tried for a baby for 11 years with polycystic ovarian syndrome. I told her, I actually stuck a picture of my a dinner that I had, low carb dinner, and I was trying to promote low carb, and she looked at it. She came back a couple of months later, she fell pregnant after 11 years of failing to fall pregnant. So all these amazing stories.
Change boyfriends.
Yes.
Don't worry about that.
Blood pressure can be helped with reducing carbohydrates. So blood pressure is actually the sugar increasing your blood, becoming sticky. Osteoarthritis, so if you have arthritis, if you get rid of the carbs, even if you don't lose weight, you can quite often reduce the aches and pains from arthritis. So you can give it a go. Cancers. We think cancer is genetics, but cancer feeds on sugar. So there's increasing evidence if you do some fasting and go ketogenic. There's a neurologist in New Zealand that's done all this trial. He would actually fast his patients with end-stage brain cancer for 5 days in a row. These people don't eat for 5 days. And if you've got end-stage brain cancer, I would give it a go. And they actually live much, much longer than expected. Fatty liver is from all the sugar and the fruit juice that people will have. Alzheimer's disease is now, we call it type 3 diabetes. So it's the brain starving, not getting enough glucose because the glucose is not getting into the cells and it's just in the bloodstream outside the brain. So many things is actually, all the chronic diseases is related to the high sugar, high carb diet. Just a few examples of what people that can achieve. This is Barry, and between the first and the second photo, it's 10 months. Between the second and the third photos, it's 4 years apart. He's reversed his obesity, he's felt much better, much more energy, and he rides his bike. And he's a big advocate of the low carb lifestyle. He said it's so easy. This is Chris. He's a diabetic. His HbA1c was 11, and he lost 30 kilos in 7 months. And now he's not a diabetic anymore. Get off all his medication. His now HbA1c is 5.2. So he's not diabetic and got much better. This is Judy, 4 years between the photos. He gone low carb, craving's gone, itchy skin has gone, arthritic pain has gone, and she's much more active, and she's gone off all her medications. And this is one of my best patients. This is Nikki. She's lost about 20 kilos. She came in to see me every 2 weeks for accountability, and her asthma is much better. She didn't need any more asthma preventers. She's got much more energy, and she can bend down. So I think all these are crap. So your soft drinks, sugars, artificial foods and processed foods. And everyone says I don't eat much sugar, but there's sugar everywhere. So beware of the sugar hidden in your yogurt or cereal or processed foods or canned food, baked beans. Just to show you what I eat, this is when I used to have breakfast. Now I don't have breakfast most days because then I can walk out of the house and go to work. When I used to have breakfast, I'll just have some omelette, eggs, bacon and eggs. Simply Swaps is a Mornington-based package business. you can visit Simply Swap Foods. They sell this porridge without oats and chia seeds. Or I would have a bit of yogurt and peanut butter. Or this is a chaffle with cheese and egg made into a waffle machine. So I would have those for breakfast. And this is my lunch. That's ham soup that I had with my leftover Christmas ham. I make low carb bread. I have bacon and eggs. Almost every lunchtime on a weekend, my kids would eat bacon and eggs. They would have toast, and that's okay because they're metabolically healthy. And maybe I have some sardines, and that's a salad dressing that I made with yogurt and olive oil. Dinner, I have beef brisket. This pizza is made from chicken mince. So the base is chicken mince, and I just put pizza topping on top.
You can make it out of cauliflower as well.
Yeah, I did. I failed.
Oh, come on.
Or a naked burger. So at the top is a naked burger, hamburger patty, and just a bit of salad and eggs. Broccoli, cauliflower, cheesy bake. That goes with my roast dinner. So that's real food. That's konjac spaghetti with bolognese and a bit of parmesan cheese. So a pretty easy dinner. That is Macca's without the bun. And that's a takeaway souvlaki that I just don't get the wrap and just get chicken and lamb, and I have a bit of salad with the souvlaki meat as a takeaway because I'm busy as well. So the real message is just eat real food. Eat less carbs. Make sure you eat protein, meat, eggs, chicken, fish. Eating healthy fat doesn't make you fat. And eat only when you're hungry, 3 times a day or less. So most days I eat 2 times a day. Try not to snack. And when you eat real food, you get less hungry. I also talk about exercise and sleep, managing addictions, stress management, healthy relationships. Like this is a healthy relationship for your club. All these will improve your mental health and longevity. And that's me. That's my social media. All this is not medical advice. If you're on diabetes or blood pressure tablets, you can't just go on low carb. You need to be careful with your medications because some diabetes and some blood pressure medications can make you drop your sugar, drop your blood pressure too low, and you might need some medical guidance on how to de-prescribe, get rid of those medications, and eat real food. So I do telehealth and I do face-to-face consultations, and thank you.